Today we're going to knit a little girl's halter top completely in this video. Here is how it will turn out. The written instructions have been added to the Kids Stuff for Girls book. Country Knitting of Maine News and Views will also be publishing a version. Use a fingering to sport weight yarn and adjust the machine to get 7 stitches 10 rows per inch. Written instructions include 3 sizes, which finish to 21, 2, and 3 inches around at the lower edge. We'll make the smallest size today. Begin by E-wrapping 147 needles to cast on. Or a time-saving trick that I'm showing here is to E-wrap every other one, but put all in work. Move the carriage across and the empty needles will get cast on. Then knit a couple of rows, counting them, and get weights on as quickly as possible. Work a total of 20 rows after the cast on and then lift the cast on to hang the hem. We're closing the bottom hem now. Get the entire hem hung, then knit across. Make a full fashion decrease on each side of the knitting by taking the 2 outer stitches, lifting them on a 2-prong tool, and moving them in 1 needle space towards the center of the fabric. The result will be 2 stitches on the second needle from each end, and a single stitch on the outer edge. Knit across and repeat, decreasing on both sides. Knit 1 row, then decrease a total of 63 times. The edges of the fabric will begin to slant in very sharply. When you have completed all the rows and decreases, there should be 21 stitches still working. Use a separate length of yarn to E-wrap the needles that are still working. Here I've used a somewhat contrasting color, which is the color I'm going to use for my stripe. You don't have to knit a stripe, but it's a cute touch. What we need is 20 complete rows after this round of E-wraps. What I did here was 2 rows of main yarn, 6 rows of my contrasting darker pink with color flecks in it, and a final 12 rows of the main color again. When the 20 hem rows are complete, lift the recent round of E-wraps, hang them on the needles, and bind off. If you've never done that or seen it done, you may want to watch this video, and I will put a link in the program notes. It's a full coverage of the technique of making a second hem at the top of the fabric. Be sure to give both the top and bottom hems a lengthwise pull. You can put a ruler in them and pull hard. That sets the stitches and makes the hems look much neater. So now you have this shape, bottom hem, top hem, and we now want to work worm trim where you see the wiggly lines. Hold the fabric up to the machine with the purl side in view and hang the first piece of the slanted side on 3 needles as it falls. As it falls means just push your 3-prong tool into this spot right next to the outer column of stitches without counting. Just push it into the fabric, lift that area, hang it on 3 needles, and knit 6 rows in whatever color you want your trim to be. Lift the next little section in the same manner, hang it on the same needles, knit 6 more rows. I have 2 movies that go into worm trim in considerably more detail, and I will put links to those movies into the program notes so that if it's a new thing to you, you can get it firmly in your mind. It's a great technique to use. It's something we use a great deal as machine knitters. Work up to and including the top hem. When you run out of fabric to hang, simply continue knitting on the same 3 needles. Knit 100 more rows. Those rows will create the cords that tie around the neck, and when you've finished the 100 rows, just bind off all 3 stitches. Now we'll add the worm trim to the second side, which is almost the same, but start by casting on 3 stitches and knitting 100 rows. Now, with the purl side in view, we'll start by hanging the top hem and begin worm trim all the way down to just above the bottom hem. Hang the last little bit of fabric and bind off. On the ends of the lower hem, sew the kind of hook we normally used for a waistband in pants or a skirt. So the hook to the underside of one side and the eye to the upper side on the other side of the hem. That will make a nice, neat closure for the lower part of the blouse. There's a matching pattern for American Girl dolls, which has been added to the Girl Talk book. The human girl version has been added to Kid Stuff for Girls, and in the written version, top and bottom hems with a heart motif like those on these leggings are included. I'll include links to all the books that I've mentioned in the program notes. One final note, if the lower hem doesn't seem a secure, snug fit on your little girl, try running elastic through it. Waistband elastic is excellent. Shorten the elastic to about 2 inches shorter than the actual length of the casing and sew through both ends of it. Of course, if the girl is available, just let her try it on and make it fit perfectly. Do this prior to sewing on the hook and eye closure. Treated in this manner, the lower hem will be a more secure fit.